Hey everyone, this is Sandeep back with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to continue a Spring and Spring Boot course or a multiple video series. So today I'm going to talk about the Maven and how to create the project using Maven. Maven is really important, to create the Java projects or create the Spring Boot project. And before jumping into the video, I want to tell you there is a playlist link of this video series which you can find in the description. So go and check the previous videos also. But you can watch this video independently or individually also, because I'm going to talk about Maven and how to create project using Maven. So let's jump into the video. So before I start talking about Maven, I want to talk about this idea of sharing code. Now, what is meaning of sharing code, right? So say suppose you're working on a project where, you have some email addresses. So it's like a mailing list, right? So you have your mailing list where, a lot of people subscribe to your newsletter maybe, or in your website maybe, right? And now you want to send emails to them. So you have the email format ready, right? But you need to send those emails to all those users. Now, how you can send these emails, right? And you're using Java as a technology, right? So either, there are two options. The first option will be you can write that email sending code, with all the template and everything, configuration and everything, right? You can write it by yourself. That is the first choice. So obviously this is going to take time, maybe a 1 week, 2 week. I don't know. It depends, right? 1 week or 2 week. And there is a second option where, if someone else, now we work in a community environment where a lot of people, they're coding every day. So second option is you can use the email sender library, or I can call a jar file. So written by the community of developers. So you have this. Okay, so something wrong with this. Okay, so you have these couple of options, right, which you can use. So you can either write it by yourself or you can use the community developers code. So say suppose you have decided to use the library, right? Now there is a pain, right? You need to include that library into your project and then you can use it. I mean, obviously you're saving some time, you're getting some advantages, but still, you need to include that library. Now say suppose this mailing list part, the entire project, if your friend want to use, right? He has the same website, he has same newsletter, and he or she also wants to send the emails to their users. Now, you need to share your entire code, right? And you need to tell him to include all these libraries. Is there an easier way? Is there a better way, we can do this? So I'll move on here. So including all the different library jar file is a difficult process. Now you've got one jar. Say suppose you have multiple jars which you want to include in your project, right? So you need to add all those jar files into your project, and it's a cumbersome process, I can tell you. Is there a better way we can do this? And that better way, is to have all these jar files, right, move into one centralized repository. Okay, so you have all the jar files placed at one place. And if you want to use those jar files, you just need to specify it into some text file or some XML file. And you need to just share that XML file with all your friends, and all those dependencies, because these are called dependencies of your project, will be downloaded automatically. Can we do that? So for that purpose, we use something called Maven. Now Maven is a build tool for Java projects. So it's a build tool for Java projects. So Maven helps manage dependencies. Now, one of the important and most important part of Maven is Maven helps manage dependencies in your Java project. So these are all the dependencies of your project, these jar files, right? These are all the dependencies. And what Maven does, Maven helps in managing all those dependencies in your Java project. You can include dependency name, and Maven helps download that in your machine, in your code, right? Using a pom.xml file. And we're going to see it practically how to do that, right? So you say, suppose you need that mail library, right? Email sender library. You just need to include that name of that particular library, right? And inside the pom.xml file, and we are going to create the pom.xml file. And that dependency will be automatically downloaded for you. That's the magic which is done by Maven behind the scene. Now Maven makes it easy for you to share your project with other fellow developers, with pom.xml file, and Maven can manage dependencies for them too. So now you have a project, you have created a project, you have that all the dependencies, right? So you don't need to share the entire code. You need to just share your source code and the XML file, and all the dependencies will be downloaded automatically for your friends also, for your fellow developers also. And Maven has this pom.xml file, I have already told you, right? Which contains all the dependencies for your Java project. Maven can help in other tasks like building your projects too, right? So if you like how we build our Java project, we compile, right? And then build using Java, C and Java command. But Maven goes beyond, and Maven abstract all those things, so you can take help of Maven to build your project also. So build your jar files also. So you can install Maven and set its path in the environment variable. So these are some, I'm not going to cover all these steps, these are for Windows. I have a Mac machine, but there are a lot of videos you can go and watch. But I'm going to use, I'm not going to do all this configuration. I'm going to use IntelliJ, and I'm going to show you how to create Maven project using IntelliJ, and IntelliJ has all these things built in. So I suggest you go ahead and download IntelliJ, and that will be really easy. Now you can use Briv to install Maven in your Mac. So if you have Briv, you can use a terminal and you can install Maven in your Mac. Okay, so let's move on. So we're going to create one Maven project step by step. So if you have IntelliJ installed, we can create Java Maven project out of the box. That's a really cakewalk, easy thing, right? So let's do it step by step. We are going to open IntelliJ. We are going to create the Maven project. We'll create Java empty project first. Okay, and inside that empty project, I'm going to add different Maven modules. So we're going to work on this concept of module. Module is nothing but a project inside a project, something like that. So we'll include Spring core dependency in our pom.xml file from Maven repository. And I talked about that central repository where all the libraries, all the Java files are located. So we're going to see one example where we're going to have Spring core as a dependency included in our project. So I'll come back to my screen now. Okay, so I'm going to switch to my IntelliJ now, and we're going to create step by step, we are going to create the Maven project. So first of all, I'm going to create a new project, new empty project, and we discuss, right? I'm going to create the empty project first, and that empty project is going to have different modules. So let me name this as Spring course. This is my project name, Spring course. Okay. And it's getting saved here. So I'm going to keep there only inside Spring course. Okay. And I'm going to finish. Okay, so I've opened a new window basically. Okay, so here I'm going to create. So we got this module pop-up, right? So now I'm going to create the module here. So let's start with the new module, and I'm going to choose the Maven as option. Click on next, and here inside this, I'm going to call this Maven demo. Okay, so let's call it Maven demo, and let's expand this also. So let's change this group ID. So I'm going to use a org.cwd, means code with Sandeep, and Maven demo we are going to keep as artifact ID, and this is going to generate some of the folder structure for us. So let's finish, and that has added. And do you want to add the following file to Git? Okay, so it's creating the pom.xml for us, and I'm going to say remember and add. And if you see here, I'm going to just click on OK. And that's going to create the POM for me, right? So this is my Maven demo. And if you see here, right, I got some of the folders like Java, resources, and this test folder created. This is the file which I was talking about, this form.xml file. So let's understand this Maven project. So this source folder is going to have our Java source code, or a Spring Boot source code, right? Inside Java, we are going to write all our source code. Now this file which I was talking about, right, pom.xml. And now this is the empty file now, and we are going to include all our dependencies here, and Maven is going to install all those dependencies automatically for us. Let me explain about this external libraries also. So if you see here right now, we have only Java 11, because obviously we need Java code to write the Java, right? To Spring code also. So it has already included. So Maven has already included Java 11 for us. Now, let's go to the centralized repository, which I was talking about. from where we can download all the jars, right? So I'm going to search for the Spring Core Maven dependency. And this will give you this link, the first link which you need to click on, MVN repository. So this is where, we have all those libraries, like I talked about that writing email sender code, right? All of these things are here in this Maven repository. So this is the centralized repository from where, we can download all of the jars. So I want to search for Spring Core. And I think this first one I need to add. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to use latest version, whichever version is available. So there are different versions also which you can download. So I'm going to use this. So I'm just going to copy this and I'll show you something really interesting. So we don't have any external libraries, right? Like I talked about that email library. Similarly, I am downloading the Spring Core library, which we are going to use for writing our Spring projects. So right now I don't have anything related to Spring here. Okay. Now I'm going to include this dependency inside so I need to add a dependency node here, dependencies, and inside the dependencies, I'm going to just paste that. Now I'm going to save it and you'll see something happening behind the scene. So hopefully Maven is going to go and download all those dependencies for me. If it doesn't, probably. Okay, so I'm going to save it, but it's not downloading by itself. So I can go here, I can just click on refresh and you see here, right? Resolving dependencies. So now if you see here, right, I have that Spring Core and Spring related jar files. So these are all the jar files, right? Those external jar files which are getting downloaded. So this Maven project is created by the community of developers, right? It's a really popular framework. So I just need to click on this refresh and it has a read that pom.xml file and it saw that, okay, you need this Spring Core dependency. It has downloaded this version and now I have this Spring installed. Now you must be wondering, right, where all these external libraries are going, right? So maybe I can just right click on this, open the library settings and I'll show you all of these dependencies are getting downloaded in your local machine inside this folder called M2. Now we can go into this path also. I can show you so let's, try, let me open a terminal and I'll show you. You can see all these things. So we will go into users, then slash my computer name. And inside that we have a folder called .m2 where, all those dependencies are getting downloaded. You can just do the ls and you see this repository. So let's go into repository and do the ls and you see that we got all those dependencies, right, getting downloaded here. Okay. So if you need to find out like where all these jars are going, so they are actually inside your username and called something called M2 directory, .m2 directory, where all these things are getting downloaded. So this is what we are going to do in future, if we need to include any dependency, any external jar or Java code, we're going to use Maven. And now I'm going to share this pom.x. I don't need to share these external libraries now, right? This part. I just need to share my project, this Maven demo, and it has this pom.xml. Now, if someone else, they import this project, they're going to have all these dependencies downloaded automatically because it is coming from internet. It is coming from that centralized repository. So I think I'm able to explain you the concept of Maven. I mean, I just touched the tip of the iceberg about the Maven. Maven itself can have its own course. Maybe I'll create course on Maven also in future, step by step. But this is what, I wanted to tell you in this video. We just wanted to understand Maven because we are going to use Maven in future in this series. And we're going to build all our project using Maven. So with that, I'm going to stop here. You just do some practice, try creating some Maven project. And I'm going to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this video. You take care and goodbye.